Hello everyone, this is Mr. Seeley and I'm going to be showing you a second tutorial on our project, the Currency as Art project. The first tutorial focused on some basics, and now that you've mastered the basics, we're ready to show you some more advanced techniques here. I wanted to start by showing you an example that I created on CorelDRAW. It is a currency coin for the Kingdom of Thailand. And here's what it looks like digitally. Notice that there's three colors. There's the red, there's the blue, and then there's the filled in kind of shaded or percentage of black. And if we look at an example of it printed off, you can see some of the similar shapes here. What I want you to notice is on here the circles are red. The outside circle is red. And what that's telling the computer is it's going to cut all the way through. You'll also notice that what is blue here is telling the computer or the laser engraver to engrave or push a little bit deeper into that, but all the way through. And you'll also notice that the filled in or shading or the percentage of black has shaded in or lasered in those respective areas. So I want to show you an example of what it looks like in the real world with two different materials, as well as what it will look like digitally. So to get started, you're going to need to find a picture on Google Images, or you can draw an image yourself and take a photo of it and drop it in. I already have mine on my desktop, which is where you're going to put it after you find it on the internet. I'm going to drag and drop it into here. Now this image here is not what we want. We want to convert it to a new format. So to convert it to a new format, I'm going to make sure it's selected, and then I'm going to go to Bitmap, Outline Trace, Logo. So Bitmap, Outline Trace, and then Logo after you have your image selected. Once you have this selected, it's going to show what it looks like now and what it should look like afterwards. Okay, and this looks pretty good. You can play around with this, but for the most part, it looks good. And what the checkerboard pattern means is that it's transparent. So right now there's a white background. Here it's checkerboard, which means it's transparent, which is what we want. So we're going to push OK. And now you can see you have the new image and the old image here. We don't need that old image, so we're going to delete that. Now this, as it stands, is not quite done. You can see it's different from these two. So what we need to do is we need to use the Window Docker Shaping tool to create just a border or an outline. So I have this selected. I'm going to go to Window, Docker's Shaping, and I'm going to go to Boundary, and I'm going to push Apply. Now there's many different options here, and we're going to get to some of those, but we're going to start with the boundary and push Apply. And you'll notice that an outline went around this. And if I click and drag, I can see here's my boundary, which we want. So I can get rid of this now. Alright, so now I have it very similar to this. Now what you're going to be doing next is you're going to be selecting this, and we're going to be changing this stroke width to blue. Because I told you earlier that everything should be red, blue, or percentage of black. So I have this selected. I'm going to go down here to the bottom and double click the pen tool. We've got to make two changes. We've got to change one thing, the width to hairline, and the second we need to change it to blue. So you're going to type in here 255B or blue and push enter and then push OK. You'll notice that that stroke width has changed to blue. We also want to fill it in. Usually, you don't have to fill it in, but for this technique I'm going to be filling it in, and I'll show you why. I'm going to be filling it in to really any color that you want. I'm going to choose a percentage of black. Let's just do 30. Okay. So that's filled in. You notice it's a little bit darker than this one. So there is my symbol. Everything is either blue or a percentage of black. Now I want to show you how to drop an interesting effect in here using a front minus back technique. So to create any type of font or text or number, you need to click this text tool or the A and just click here and then put whatever you want in here. For me, I'm going to use a 3. I'm going to change it to bold and I'm going to enlarge it. And really you can kind of change the size later on, but you do want the bold to be a certain thing. Then I'm going to go to Pick Tool, make sure it's selected, and you're going to change this or convert this. Similar to when we did Bitmap, Outline Trace, and then Logo, we're going to use Object, Convert to Curve. By doing this, it's going to change it from something that is editable to something that can be more easily manipulated. So now I can change the size and do some other things. Okay. So here's my 3 right here. I'm dropping it on there, and if you want to align it, this is review. If you want to align it, you can draw a box around it, go to Object, align and distribute, and align it vertically. And that kind of helps us snap it so it's center. Okay? Now, I want to make this 3, basically punch a hole through this emblem with the 3. So I have a box around it, and you're going to go back to Windows, Dockers, Shaping, or if you still have this window open, it's right here, so you can just go right to it. And we want to front minus back, if I'm not mistaken. Push Apply, and I was wrong. Do not front minus back. So undo that by going like this, or Control Z. Sorry, it's back minus front. Sometimes I forget. Okay, push Apply, and you can see that what just happened was the 3 got a hole punched through it, and it creates kind of an interesting effect, which you can use. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is how to put text around a curve, because most currency coins that you'll see have a curve around them. So the first thing you're going to need to do is create a circle. So you're going to create a circle. You notice it'll disproportionately change. So holding the control button will make sure it's proportionally the correct, just so it's consistent. And then you're going to click this text tool and get it where it says edge. When it says edge, you can click on it and you can type around it. So I can type out anything that I want. And then before you do that, you might want to change it to bold. You can enlarge it if you want, but you can certainly do that at a later point. You can see if you get too big, it gets kind of messed up here. Okay, so this right here looks like a good size here. I'm going to push Enter. But just like we did before, we want to make sure that we convert it to curves. So Object Convert to Curves, and now it can be grabbed and manipulated and put anywhere that you want. So I can kind of fit it to my currency coin as I need to. Now if I want to rotate this, I can click on the center and then go like this, so it kind of fits my coin how I want it to fit. So you can make it larger or smaller as you see. Okay, so that's a way of kind of getting a text to go around here. But remember, this text is also going to need to have a blue outline around it, most likely. At least I think that looks better. So you're going to select this, go to your pen tool, make sure you change your width to hairline, change this to 255 blue, push Enter and OK, and now you can see that it's filled it in with that, or done the stroke width of blue. Now if you want it to be a percentage of black, you certainly can do that. I have this selected already. The paint bucket fill is set for black. Maybe I don't want it so dark. Maybe I just want it 60. Push OK, and now you can see it's a little bit darker. Okay. So what I did here was I actually didn't have any fill here because it contrasts with this. But since right now I don't have anything on the background, I wanted to have some contrast, so I filled it in like such. Your final technique is manipulating a portrait, because as you know, coins usually have portraits. So I found this beautiful, handsome photograph on this teacher pages. You're going to be using someone who's more important than this individual. And to convert this, you can do a couple different things. Now, as I said before, ideally it's good to find like a silhouette or simple image. If you can't find that, you can use this technique here. So first, I have this. You're going to do the same thing you've done before. You're going to go to Bitmap, Outline, Logo, and we're going to manipulate this and change this. Now you can see this gets very stylized. If you want to see more detail, you can turn it up a notch to here and play around with some of these different options here. For the most part, that looks pretty good. I'm going to push OK. And you also need to make sure that you ungroup this, because this is all grouped together right now. So to ungroup it, you can hit Object, Ungroup, or Control U. And there's my old photo. And then I'm able to delete all this other junk that kind of happens with the background to focus on just kind of what is most important. All right. So now, remember what I said is you only should have red, blue, or percentages of black. This is a lot more than that. So what you're going to need to do is do an adjustment. So I'm highlighting all of this. I'm going to go to Effects, and I'm going to go to Adjustments, and I'm going to change the hue saturation and the lightness. Is that the right one? Yeah, good. So I've changed that, but you also might want to lighten it up a little bit, because you don't want it to get too dark, otherwise it'll be hard to tell the difference on the computer. Although that looks kind of faded, that will most likely be pretty good for your final. So I'm going to push OK here, and now I have it just black and white or grayscale. But I would still recommend you outline this with the blue. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to do a boundary. Remember how to do the boundary? Window, Dockers, Shaping, and I'm going to do a boundary. Push Apply. I have a boundary, but notice the boundary is black. We want it to be hairline, and we want it to be a percentage of, or not a percentage, 255 blue. Push Enter and OK. And now it's telling the computer that we're going to engrave a strong, thick line here, and then have the rest be percentages of black. Okay. Now another kind of cool thing you can do is if you are not having trouble fitting this person or this image on here, you can do an intersection as well. So I can take this, highlight all of this, and do a intersect. Push Intersect. And then essentially what it's done, oops, I don't think I did it right. Yeah, I definitely didn't do it right. I think maybe this needs to be on top. Yeah, let me try this. So order to front of the page. Let's try this again. So maybe that's to be on top. Intersect. Not getting it to work. So anyway, I'll show you individually how to do that intersection tool, but you can definitely play around with some of these to make them more interesting. Once you have all your components, you're going to make sure that you have one shape on the outside that is red. So if we look at this, the outline is going to be changed to hairline and then 255 red to create that maximum, to show the computer that's going to be cut through. Okay, so please use this tutorial to help you for this assignment. Right now you should have all the necessary criteria to create a really cool currency coin. If you need more help, please ask me individually, and just remember to use your partner as a resource. Thank you for listening.